Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Justin Nielsen along with Ken Shreve. It is Friday, May 31st, and we are live from the Los Angeles headquarters of Investors Business Daily. End of the week, end of the month, and things did not look great today.
No, definitely not. It was sort of a week open that just stayed weak all day, and we ended up with a close near session lows. But, another day of institutional selling in the market. This time it's the threat of new tariffs against Mexico, and those are going to take effect June 10th unless President Trump wants more progress on immigration and all these things. So just another day
kind of a political move in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So let's just go ahead and run through the numbers real quick. We had the S&P 500 closing down 1.3%. The NASDAQ Composite closing down 1.5%, as Ken mentioned, pretty near its lows for the day. And the Dow Jones Industrials were closing down 1.4%. So we're pulling up a NASDAQ Composite chart, and you can kind of see the destruction that happened here today, right through the 200-day moving average line.
Yeah, we had a nice little rally attempt for the NASDAQ on Thursday, kind of made an early bid for support at the 200-day moving average, but you can see a conviction break, not only below the 200-day today, but also the 7,500 level. And we were talking about, well, what's next for the NASDAQ now that it broke through 7,500. And you do have a March low of 73.32 that could be in play at this point. But, this is a market that's been under distribution for quite some time. We changed our outlook and went negative on the market back on May 13th. So
that's when we went to correction.
We went into correction with the big picture, and still earnings reports rolling in, some good, some bad. But this is a time just to be kind of watching from the sidelines and kind of sidestepping the selling.
And even some of the earnings reports are good, but the stock action is not necessarily good.
Yeah, no, I mean, you see companies 50, 60, 70% growth, and you're still seeing sell-offs because guidance may not have been great. So kind of another rough day. I saw actually on CNBC the Dow marked its 6th straight weekly close. It hasn't done that in 8 years.
Okay, so that's getting pretty serious. And I mean, if you look at the monthly close, it was a lot of devastation today, really wiping out 2 to 3 months worth of gains in a lot of cases. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few stocks. Let's pull up Kirkland Lake. Now, this is a gold stock, and that was one of the bright spots, the miners, in terms of how they did today.
Yeah, I mean, gold was actually up 1.5%, crossed $1,300 an ounce, but Kirkland Lake Gold has really been a mainstay in the IBD 50 for quite some time now. It has a composite rating of 99, accelerating sales growth. This is really one of the better run gold producers out there. You don't see gold stocks a lot in our screens, but again, Kirkland has been a member of the IBD 50 for some time. It's a bullish move today, and buying for a breakout here over a 35-30 buy point. So we'll see.
Although it does seem like gold tends to appear a little bit more as a defensive play as this market gets down. I mean, I remember back in 2016, after we had that 20% correction in January, a lot of gold, was coming into the IBD 50, a lot of REITs, a lot of utilities, a lot of those defensive.
I mean, gold definitely back in favor today, and it is kind of a safe haven place when the market is in a correction. People want to put their money somewhere. So mentioned a strong move in gold today, up 1.5%, and Kirkland Lake, a beneficiary, and even the GLD, the Spider Gold shares, the most liquid gold ETF out there, looked like it broke out over a little trend line today. So definitely money moving into gold.
Yeah. Okay. So now on the earnings front, ZSCALAR is a stock that we've been talking about quite a bit. It's one that we had on leaderboard for quite a while, off and on a number of times. It just had its earnings report. We took it off of leaderboard before that earnings report, and what happened?
So this is a stock that was actually looking good when it broke out over a 73.04 buy point. The problem is it was doing it right around the time the market was starting to roll over. So the breakout was short-lived, and ZSCALAR gave up its 50-day moving average today. Looks like this one's ready to base for a little while. We still look at this company as one of the leaders in the security software space. I mean, they did have a 61% rise in sales, a big earnings beat. But the problem here, it's a high multiple stock. It's priced at a premium valuation, and the guidance was just okay. It was kind of in line with what the street was expecting, and as a result, we got a little sell-off today in the stock, and kind of battling for support here at the 50-day moving average. Looks like it closed below the line today.
Right. So now, if you had purchased this at the 73.04 buy point, you're underwater at this point. Now, you could have also purchased it much earlier in January, How do you handle it differently in those cases?
Well, you had big sellers in the stock today. So if you had a nice profit in this stock, certainly a break of the 50-day moving average and heavy volume today would be an opportunity to lock in profits. I mean, if you'd bought the stock around 73.04 and and then earnings are right around the corner and you don't have any cushion, it really, so you're kind of exposing yourself to heightened risk by holding it through earnings.
That's a tough hold.
We made a decision just to take a very tiny marginal gain in this name and get out of the way of earnings. It turned out to be the right call. This one could come back, but like I said, with the break of the 50-day today, it's probably going to base and consolidate for a while.
Okay, now on the positive side, we also have PACOM software, and one of the things that's great about this stock is it's just been holding very tight, even though the market's been coming down so much. And so we're going to show a weekly chart on this to really show that tight action.
Yeah, they say a weak market eventually brings everything down with it, and even a name like Lululemon for some period of time had been holding above support, and it eventually kind of selling has hit that stock. But PACOM, one of the big leaders in the software space, selling has just not come into the stock yet. It's been holding gains, trading tightly near highs. We have seen some software stocks not doing so great in this weak stock market, but PACOM is trading tightly near highs. We actually have a 4 weeks tight pattern here, with a very identifiable buy point of 215.75. So that doesn't mean that this is ready to break out over that alternate entry, but you want to pay attention to really strong stocks in the market, and PACOM is just not showing any signs that it wants to go down at this point.
Right, and of course that tight action has led to a big jump in the relative strength line. You can see that it's at new highs. Even though the stock is just not making much progress, the fact that it's not going down is making that relative strength line really.
It's a sector leader. Again, we were talking about Kirkland Lake Gold being a mainstay in the IBD 50. PACOM has been a mainstay in the IBD 50 for a long time, really. I mean, just a very, very bullish fundamentals here, and just looking out at annual estimates over the next, for this year and next, in the mid 25% or something like that. So there's still a good growth story here, and just a very impressive stock in a weak market right now.
Right, and so end of the month, what should investors be looking at for next month?
Well, we're always look for signs of a market bottom. They tend to happen when they're least expected. We had pretty bad technical action in the NASDAQ today, again with that break of the 7,500 level. There was some volume behind the declines today on the NYSE and NASDAQ, so it was more distribution. And but we're going to look at the market next week and the following week. Look for signs that new institutional money is coming in from the sidelines. It could happen sooner than expected, or it could take a while to happen. But
day by day,
and just watching price and volume in the indexes.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ken. Okay, that'll wrap it up for us today. Hope you have a good Friday, a long weekend ahead of you. And we are also on social media, so if you are not following us, please do so. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we are on YouTube and Twitter, and you can reach us at any of those. Lots of market updates that we give throughout the day on our social media sites. I know you're very active on Twitter, so
yes,
definitely follow investors.com there or any of our reporters. And thanks a lot for joining us today. Have a good one.